My class today, I'm going to be kind of doing some original strength work and how it relates to Aikido. And again, I was not necessarily the first choice to teach this. Diane Deskin, who introduced me to original strength, she's a teacher in Tucson, Arizona, Aikido teacher. And she actually learned about original strength from Rehab Yakub, who's a really foundational Aikido teacher in the Southwest. Again, original strength, it sort of was developed by personal trainer, physical therapist, scientist types in North Carolina originally. And it's kind of interesting contrasting what we've done this weekend with original strength. It takes it a little more from the mechanistic kind of neurobiological perspective of movement. So rather than concepts like yin and yang, we're dealing with concepts like the vestibular system and proprioception and a lot of polysyllabic words, which I'll break down a little bit. But basically, original strength talks about how we can kind of return to a more authentic movement based on basically how babies move. And I'm sure you've heard Aikido teachers talk about how strong a baby is when a baby grabs something, because all their focus and their body and mind are one. Okay, and so that's a little bit what original strength is talking about. And it's a lot about also activating the vestibular system, the internal sense of balance and motion that we use a lot in Aikido. So when you know, most Aikido people, when they're introduced to original strength, they're like, oh yeah, okay, that explains a lot. And for me, especially now with the lockdowns and limits on what we can do in Aikido in the dojo, I think original strength really makes a lot of sense with working with the ground and our weight on the ground. Because that's what we're missing right now, is being thrown on the ground, rolling on the ground for a lot of us. So going back to the ground, just like a baby, rolling around. And I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of that sense of well-being I get from doing Aikido is from rolling around on the ground. So maybe that, you know, we have all these sensors in our body, all these, you know, touch points that are being activated by rolling around on the ground. And we're missing that, not being able to do traditional Aikido or be in the dojo for many of us. So again, find yourself a patch of ground in your house, preferably with a carpet or a cushion. Yoga mats are because we're going to be rolling a lot, and so they may come up. If you have a carpet, that's better. Or if you have one of those fitness puzzle mats you can put down. I usually put one down on the living room floor. I can't today, but because somebody needs to play video games today. So I'm in the dojo, but one of those fitness mats on a hardwood floor is actually perfectly fine. So again, original strength, the three main principles are breathing through the diaphragm, you know, rather than the upper body, breathing through the nose, activating your vestibular system. And also a big part of original strength, which is interesting for Aikido, is working across the body. So working on opposite sides, getting back to that original crawling gait. So again, a lot of things from original strength can also be done from a chair, from seated, from, you know, you don't have to do a lot of this. If you're not able to be on the ground or stand or do any of the movements, you can do them sitting. So that's another part. So there are 5, and the way we talk about an original strength is about resets. You're resetting your body to that original knowledge, that original unification and oneness. So there are 5 of them, and we'll start with number 1, which is breathing. So how do we get back to that baby breathing of nose breathing rather than gasping upper body breathing, which of course releases a lot of bad endorphins or bad hormones when you're breathing through the mouth. That's a kind of emergency breathing. So let's lie on the ground. Okay, so the first way we're trying to kind of get in touch with that diaphragm, with that abdominal breathing. So a good way to start is just lie on your back, okay? And grab your knees. Actually, let me angle my screen down a little bit more. So you're gonna go back and just rest your head back and do some breathing. And again, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth Close your mouth. And try to feel, you can even put your hand on your stomach. Do 5 breaths. You should be able to get some good feedback from your position. Feel your stomach go up and down. Okay? So next you're going to lower, actually no, first lower your hands. Lengthen your body out a little. Feel how that's a little different. Five breaths. Now lower your feet. Again, feel that. Close your mouth. Relax everything. Try to get the breathing to happen in the abdominal area. And last, stretch your legs out. Five breaths. And then extend your arms overhead. You can feel how it gets a little harder to isolate that abdominal breathing as you lengthen your body out. That's why when we stand, it's easy to lose track of that and start moving the breathing up into the mouth. So really make a conscious effort to find that. Your stomach, extend, push against your belly, against your hand. Let's do 10 breaths from this position. No, your screen hasn't frozen. We were just doing 10 breaths. Okay, so now let's just gently roll over. This is one of my favorite positions in original strength. It's called TV watching position. Okay, so let's do our breathing again. And this time you actually feel the ground. You can have your toes up in this case, or toes down, whichever is more comfortable. But I think for Aikido, it's good for us to keep the toes up, flex the toes. And another principle of original strength is keeping the head up and the chest forward. So just like a baby looks around the room. So this is, again, you're starting on your back as a baby would start on their back, working with breathing. And then this is the next step, just lifting your head up. So let's just do a few breaths from there. Now you'll get the feedback from the ground, which again is what's so unique to me about original strength, is that immediate feedback from the ground. So just a couple of breaths, 5 breaths. Very good. So now let's go to the next reset, and that is head movement. So again, we're dealing with how babies start perceiving the world, but we're also trying to link in our vestibular system, our inner ear, our sense of motion with our actual eye movement. So again, we're used to kind of doing things as an adult, not really focusing on what we're doing or looking at with a conscious way. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your eyes and focus on something across the room, and then let your eye movement bring your head all the way down to your chest. And then let your eye movement bring your head all the way up the wall, as high as you can back. So let's do 5 of these. Up, eyes down, meet, 1, 2, go. Again, not going as far as pain, but as far as you can comfortably. And now you're going to let your eyes go across the wall and really see everything you're looking at. And then look behind you as far as you can go. See if you can look at your own feet. Feet on. Good. Okay, so again, making sure you're consciously taking things in, you're keeping your eyes up, and the eye is leading the head, not the head, and then the eye follows. Okay, next we're going to do a big circle, so just up, around gently. Especially if you're not warmed up this morning, take your time. Big circle. You hear your neck crunching and crackling if you've been doing a lot of device staring. So again, just trying to get that eye movement and head movement synced up again. Okay? So letting your eye, and again, that's familiar from Aikido, your metsuke from martial arts. Your eyes are directing your body, not vice versa. Okay, so that's our head movement. So let's, from this TV watching position, again, if it's not comfortable for you, you can stretch it out. You can get lower. You could even put your head almost on the ground. But let's roll around a little bit in this position. Then take your leg and reach over as far as you can. It's morning, it's cold, so don't do this too dramatically. Just stretch. Again, that's a nice thing about original strength. You don't have to do anything too fast, too dynamically. Take your time. Sometimes it's better to do things slow. Notice how your weight shifts to one arm. And back. Open the hip. And one more. Also, we do repetitions in original strength, which is something I like probably from Aikido. I like being able to try something multiple times until the motion gets more natural. I don't like doing things one time and then having to do the next. Maybe that's just me. Okay, so now let's take this a little further. So again, you're gonna reach around with the leg. Now let this light elbow come up, meet the knee, sit up. And then again, with your eye leading the movement, look over, let the hand come down, back to TV watch. Okay? So let the eye look over to look at your back foot. Let this knee and elbow come together. Sit up. Now let the eye come around. Reach one arm down, then the other over. So let's just do a couple more of those just to get a feeling of movement. And always directed by the eye. Right. And up one more time. And eye. Yeah. Right. So you can see that is technically a roll in original strength, but you can see it has a lot of elements of stretching and eye movement, and also breathing. So good. So let's actually come right back up to all fours. So the next reset we're going to work on is rolling. And I always wondered in original strength why they go right into rolling, because there's other elements that seem a little mellower. But if you think about rolling also in the Aikido context, it's something we do early in class. We're trying to open up the spine, get used to the ground. So it kind of makes sense if you think of it from that perspective. It's a more fundamental movement than we think of it, because it's kind of difficult the way we do it. But original strength, again, tries to take it from the ground. So, and also this is a way to wake up the skin. That's another important element. We're waking up the body, all the different neural pathways that are connected to the skin. So first thing we're going to do, and this is something that Aikido people have difficulty with, is we're going to let the eyes start the roll. Okay? So it feels weird, like you're going to hit your head, but if you see this in slow motion, my body actually comes up, so my head ends up tucking at the very end. So this is similar to what we were doing yesterday. We did some rolling exercise as well. So let's do some 10 times, but really consciously try to look up at the ceiling, then tuck. Look up at the ceiling, tuck. So let's do 10 rolls. This is called a rocking chair roll. And again, make sure you're gonna have something that's gonna pad your spine a little. So just eyes up, so each, stop. Let those eyes come up to the ceiling. Go. Rock. Shich. Hatch. Ku. Ju. So just a simple roll with a little different emphasis, but I think of it as kind of compressing that feeling of going back, then going into a back roll. So very useful roll. So let's do another roll here, which this time you're gonna go side to side. So again, let your head turn, side, look over your opposite shoulder, side. It's called an egg roll. You can let your legs kind of open up. Let your head turn. You can see it kind of stimulates the sides of your body. And the thing I like about this also for Aikido is that we're strengthening our neck by holding it up and turning it. The flexibility we need for getting up and down. And then just as a continuation of that, as a good back stretch, hold the legs up in tabletop position, and then slowly turn them over while you keep your shoulders on the mat. Let your lower back peel off the ground like it's coming off of Velcro, slowly. So this is called a windshield wiper, and it's another way of experiencing a roll with a real core strengthening element. So let's do 5 more of those. Each. Knee. So. Sheet. And go. All right. Good. And now there's a lot of variations of this. You could use straight legs. Again, there's a million different variations, just like Aikido, different variations of each movement. If you're interested in more, there's a great website that'll give you real good guidance. All right, so last roll we're gonna do, and this is a big favorite and very well loved by Aikido people. So put your arms above your head. reach with the far arm. Pretend there's something over there. It can be a remote control, a snack. Reach, again, let your eyes go to the object, then your hands, then let your body slowly roll to the side. Now this backhand reaches over piece by piece. Boom, your body rolls over. Other side, reach. Boom. This is why it's nice to do this in this dojo, because you have space, but again, you can do it at home. Boom. Okay, so really, this is called a segmental roll because each part of the body is allowed to kind of come over in its own time. So you can keep doing this all day. You can lead with your hand, as long you can lead with your elbow. Of course, you can lead with your knee. You can lead with the foot. Or what I find the most difficult is lead with the head. Okay. So all of those are really good ways, and we've had some discussion about this. I mean, in Aikido, we try to roll as one unit. Why would you break it up into segments? I think it really does, though, help relax everything and give you an awareness of how to bring everything together. Okay, so we got 2 more resets to go. So remember, we did the breathing, the head movement, the rolling, and then the next part is really good, and I've gotten a lot of testimonials from other Aikido people who do original strength. This is really good for helping to rehab joints. This is called rocking. So hands and knees shoulder length apart, head up, chest forward, and you're just gonna rock back and forth. Okay, so you can see I have my toes up. Again, that's kind of, I think, a good Aikido stretch, but just keep doing this for a minute. Make sure you're looking high up on the wall. You don't want your back too arched in any particular direction, but you definitely don't want to be slumped forward. Okay? So you can feel the work in your knees and your ankles and your shoulders and your hands, and it's in a controlled manner, and also the neck is activated as well. It's controlled, but it's good work and it's your body weight. So that's why I think this is so beneficial for rehabbing injuries. So another element is going side to side. You can feel the difference there. And make sure your head stays up. You can go all the way down. This is a really good shoulder rehab. Try that. All the way down. Almost like a push-up. You can also extend one leg out. We did something similar in yoga last night. But I think the beneficial part of original strength is if you really wanted to work on the stretch here, you would do it for a minute straight. Just keep doing this, eyes up, head up. You could put the arm, the leg out. Again, just going back. You can put the leg in the other direction. The key is just repeating. Let's do the other leg now. And again, this is a brief intro, but ideally you do every movement in original strength for at least a minute. Okay? But then you only have to do it a minute. You don't have to do it for 45 minutes like you would in a Pilates class or something. So you're able to really get the benefit of the stretch without going mentally insane. All right, so that's rocking. And again, there's a lot of other variations. You can cross your legs, you can flatten your toes, You can go in a circle. Yeah, let's do that for a minute. A nice circle. Notice how you feel that. I especially feel it in my wrists, which haven't been getting the workout they're used to from Aikido. Again, can be done on your living room floor. Just keep doing it consistently and repetitively. Okay, so last reset. So again, we had breathing, head movement, rolling, and rocking. And the last one is crawling. This is the super fun one. Usually kids love doing this, even though it really tires them out as well. So again, this is the next stage of the baby's movement. The baby's been rocking, the baby's been rolling around side to side, maybe rolling forward and back, depending on the baby. But now the baby's gonna crawl. So the big part of this is the contralateral movement. So actually I just did the opposite. So you're moving opposite hand, opposite foot together. So you're trying to tie the two halves of your brain together. So this is called the basic gait. And again, head forward, chest forward. Just try crawling around. From a physical perspective, again, you feel the work in your wrists, your knees, your ankles, your neck. Again, after I do a good original strength session, my neck feels really activated, just like from an Aikido class. So that's your basic baby crawl. You can do it in the living room, you can do it outside. People in original strength love doing it, up mountainsides and on logs over rivers. So there's a lot of variety out there. But this is the basic crawl. Where it really gets good for conditioning is if you lift up the knees, same idea. And this is called the Leopard Crawl. Do it a little bit, you'll feel how it really challenges your strength and your balance. Thing you want to think about is not stick your butt up, keep your butt low, keep your feet moving within your elbows. So it's a compact movement. Your head and chest are up, your butt is down, and you're able to, again, try to do this for a good minute or two at a time. It's challenging. So again, up. This is your leopard crawl. And then the real ball buster. Again, elevate your knees, but this time, step out. Some of you may know this as Spiderman Crawl. You're trying to keep your butt down, open the hip. Just try it, just hold it there for a minute. You can feel how much stretch you're getting. Similar to some yoga poses, but I like how you're able to do it over and over again and not be stuck in one position for a long time. So again, just do a little Spiderman crawl, slowly. So getting those hands and knees coordinated is the hardest part. Or not the hardest part, but one of the hardest parts. All right, good. So that's sort of a little run through. Again, I'm kind of skipping the best part of original strength, which is that repetition, giving you a real chance to repeat things and do them over and over again until you get more comfortable and you get stronger. You can really feel the difference. So, and again, just in line with what Jacqueline Sensei was teaching yesterday, a lot of this can be done from seated. So again, you can do head movements from seated. You can work on your breathing. You can do movements that are similar to a roll, or you can lie on the ground and do a roll in a very limited sense. And this feeling of going across, like when you're walking, crawling, or rocking. You can do this in a seated position. Okay? That really helps develop musculature, brain connections. So there's a whole field of doing these movements in a way that encompasses all abilities. So I'm really happy about that as well. All right, good. Well, I think I'll wrap that up for now. Does anyone have any questions? Out loud? Anyone, Jamie, do you see any questions?
No, but you do have 10 more minutes. You're getting lots of appreciation and
Great.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Mallory's got something.
Yeah, Mallory?
I think about, 90% of the attrition rate when beginners start is because they hurt themselves when they do a forward roll. It seems like Aikido instructor is like starting to incorporate some of this stuff before we even get people to rolling would be a good idea. Like, what would be your recommendation for thinking about incorporating it into your normal Aikido curriculum?
Well, what I say is that when I get someone in class, which I do often, someone who's beginner, usually it's a guy in their 50s or 60s who's always wanted to do martial arts. And then he's just, now he's retired, he wants to do it. And he's very overweight and has lots of injuries. So I put this person on the ground and right away have them doing the segmental rolls. Okay, because they cannot do forward and backward rolls safely in any form. Maybe a little bit of this. I'll have them do a little bit of this. Even that can be difficult for someone in very poor shape. So, usually in my beginners class, I have them start with these. A lot of people in really poor shape can't even get up from seated. So the segmental rolling is a way to start the rolling, and again, the segmental rolls are the on your back reaching over. Anyone can do that. So I have not found someone yet who can't do that, who has, full abilities of their body. So start them with that. That's a rolling, and then maybe bring them up to all fours, do a bit of crawling and rocking. And that over time can build strength to get them to the point of starting with the regular back and forth rolling, backward roll.
Yeah,
cool. But yeah, no, I think forward rolls, I have some people who walk in and they can do it on day one, but I'm really de-emphasizing it for anyone who starts at an older age. So, because yeah, I do think it's very discouraging. As my first teacher likes to say, I was the worst beginner he ever had. And I could not roll for the life of me without hitting my head really hard. So it took me about 6 months to learn how to roll. And so I fully understand people's difficulties with it. So that's one really good application of original strength. Put people on the ground, get them starting to roll in some way, and then move them to the next step.
Just to tie in a few things, yesterday in longevity in training, we were talking about how people stop rolling around, by high school. Adults, we aren't on the ground, we're not rolling, we're not doing any of that sort of thing. So, that's so important. The left, right, I'm kind of reminded of brain gym kind of training. And we were talking about yin and yang and left and right and just that unification. So maybe you could talk about that a little bit more, how original strength works with those integrations.
Well, in regular classes, I use original strength a lot for kids, because if you notice, a lot of little kids have a lot of trouble doing that opposite, touch your opposite knee, touch your opposite, it just doesn't compute. I think the brain connections aren't there. And especially kids these days, they're locked in their house all day. They don't have time to play. They don't have an opportunity to play outside as much. Now it's snowing like really hard here now. So kids are stuck inside all weekend. And, so to be able to do some of these, the crawling exercises, I think are really good. And there's a lot of science behind original strength in terms of brain imaging and activating both sides of the brain, uniting both sides of the brain. So it's got a lot of developmental science behind it. And I'm not a scientist, but I know it works with kids because it really does make it easier for them to do that cross movement. So, and older people as well.
So Lisa, hi. Somebody was asking if you have any good resources and websites about original strength they can look at.
Yeah, there's tons. They're actually really good about doing, what they're not good about is giving you like a program, like an introductory program for original strength. But what they are good as there are lots of little videos of each movement explained very well by this very nice guy who created it named Tim. But the best thing for me, again, I was really intrigued by it when I was introduced to it by Diane Deskin Sensei, but I went to the training. But unfortunately, the training is expensive and it's like $275, it's all day. You're in there with a bunch of like hard body trainers and like, super bras and, 6 packs. And so it's kind of intimidating, but I'm really glad I went because it did give you a good overview. There's also some really good books called Originals. I mean, they're kind of jargony a little bit, but there's a book called Original Strength. Pressing Reset is the, here, I'll show you. This is the book you get when you go to the training, but this is the logo, Pressing Reset. Okay, and, but again, I'm giving you a pretty good overview, I think, for Aikido purposes. But if you have things that really resonate with you, and I can get, again, I'll share all my notes that I put together for this class with the names of the movements. And then you can go, they're great videos. And a lot of people do them, just some trainer in France will do one or a trainer in Canada. So you'll see a lot of different people doing them. And you get a really good perspective. Right.
So we'll
great.
email those notes and you'll get a recording of this class,
Yeah,
as soon as those are ready. Jacqueline?
I have a question indeed. When you're laying down on the floor on the belly with the arms, the elbows in front, I notice I have a tendency to collapse the chest down and I have to press it back up. Or how is it supposed to be natural that you hang down, or you supposed to press yourself up?
I think you're supposed to press yourself up. You're really supposed to have that, just like a baby. If you watch a baby look around from that position, they really have their heads up. And it's really hard work for them because their heads are 25% of their body weight. So it's a lot of effort, but it really builds musculature. And again, for Aikidoists, it builds neck strength. But it may be a little bit of discomfort if your spine is stiff. So again, they recommend going to your forearms. If this is too much, go lower if you have to. But try to keep the head up as best you can. So every one of these movements has alternatives and that are easier and less strenuous if you need it. So if this is too much, lower yourself down, but just try not to lose that feeling of holding the head up.
Mm.
So I hope that answers the question. Again, I'm not an expert. I am certified in this, but I'm still discovering it. And again, the more I study it, the more I keep coming back to it, especially in lockdown. A lot of my warm up and conditioning classes have elements of this. All right. Good. Are we?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I'm having this image of Aikido Sensei probably 25 years ago on the mat, going like this and doing all these things and say, you got to know what your hands are doing. And we talk about Tenshinage, but here's Ikkyo, or this hand's going like this for Nikkyo, or Iriminage, or Kotagaishi. I mean, just that interplay of the hands and the connectivity of them, and the left and the right. It's there throughout Aikido. I mean, in every technique.
But what I like also a little bit about original strength is that the hands are usually down and you have to focus on the other joints. Because I think when we're standing up and doing things now without contact, we can get too hand focused. So getting back to the eyes, directing movement, the rest of the body, I think that's what to me is useful as well. It's not so based on the grab. It's more about the whole body. So yeah, but yeah, I think it's a really smart system. So that's my bottom line. Doesn't replace Aikido, but it's still fun and great for doing at home on the floor. Just clean up the cat puke. That's one thing I've learned from my.
Awesome. Thank you, Liese Sensei. By the way, check out her books, The Life-Giving Sword, Chiba's Sensei's Life in Aikido, and Demon Dojo, an Aikido adventure. So Liese Sensei is an author. Be sure to Google her and look up her books. Yeah. Are they on Amazon?
Yeah, if you need a Christmas present for one of those kids who loves anime, give them my book, Demon Dojo. Yeah, they're all on Amazon and print to order. Hopefully on Kindle soon with the Chiba Sensei book. So any minute. All right, thank you.
Thank you. We have
Bye.
a 5-minute break, and we will be back with Sam Tatel Sensei, Centered Receiving. Thank you.